Yo guys, what is up today? Okay, Coco, you're on my desk. We gotta do a Sunday update for everybody. Do you guys want to see my cat, Coco? She's a little munchkin cat. She's a munchkin cat that's about 1 year old. She has a twin brother. Anyways, let's get into this technical analysis. Bye, Coco. Okay, so today is now Sunday, and I promise you guys that every single Sunday, we're gonna do a weekly Sunday roundup just to kind of get an idea of what has been hot, what has been trending, and go from there. And honestly, guys, there are many days where I just don't want to be online because, well, it's Sunday first of all, and some days, everybody's got those days where you're feeling lazy, you're feeling very unproductive, you don't want to go to the gym, you just don't want to do anything except for sit there and maybe in front of a TV and watch something or read a book or just chill or play a game. Basically have a really lazy day. And today is one of those days for me. But you know what I told myself? I'm going to get up no matter what, and I'm going to show up no matter what. And I'm going to get on that elliptical. I'm going to put in some time on it. I'm going to burn some of this fat that I'm going to try to burn for the summer before my crazy vacation. Going to Canada for about a week and a half, and then going to Paris with my wife for a honeymoon for a week. So I've got some goals. So because of that, and because I promised you guys that I'm going to be here every single Sunday from now on, except for last Sunday, it was a vacation. It's really hard for me to, I suppose, commit to being online when I'm on a vacation. And I know that you understand that, so I really appreciate it. But because of that, it's Sunday. I gave you my word. I'm going to do a Sunday roundup. But I promise you this, that a gigantic part of success is just to show up. You first of all have to do what you said you're going to do. And also, it's good to tell people what you're going to do as well. Then after you talk the talk, you've got to walk the walk as well. Does that make sense? So you tell people what you're going to do, that you hold yourself accountable, and you just freaking do it. I don't want to be here once again, but I'm going to do it for you guys just to show you by leading by example that some days you just got to show up. And on those days that you show up, sometimes you're just going to find those really good trades. You're going to be able to notice something that you may not have noticed before, putting in that time. You got to put in that grind. Put in that hustle. There were many times when I used to live in my parents' basement. I was 31 years old, literally moved back home to my parents' basement, and I really didn't want to be there, but I had no money. I had no job. I didn't know what to do with my life. I didn't even want to study for 18 hours a day. But eventually, after getting into a routine, I found out that discipline, it turns out to be much more important than motivation and inspiration. Motivation and inspiration, it fades. It fades so fast. And eventually you're going to find that, oh man, I'm just exhausted. Like, why am I doing this? And then you realize that this discipline that you carry through with you for the rest of your life, it is what's going to make you succeed in this market. And that discipline is no different than stopping yourself out and committing to these set of rules. So today in my Discord group, I'm not knocking on them. I'm not saying anything bad about them. But what I do notice is that they're trying to do things like Elliott wave analysis on a 15-second time frame when a coin has literally moved like 2%. It's not really a wise thing to do, to be hunting for coins instead of letting them come to you naturally. You might be forcing it a little bit too much when you're forcing micro time frame, Elliott wave theory, and counts and fractal counts on like 15-second time frames when they've only moved like 1% or 2%. Not really the best thing to do. You have to naturally let these trades come to you, accept the fact that some days it's going to be very, very slow. Some days there's going to be a lot less movement than other days as well. And you're not going to find nearly as many setups. Except the fact that Bitcoin is probably at a high for now of that $25,200 resistance. And we're most likely going to correct. And then after we correct and hit our targets, that's where we're going to have more of an opportunity. You're always going to find less trades during the correction and the consolidation phase compared to when there's an uptrend. And that you must understand that there's not always going to be a day where you're going to find an opportunity to trade. Right now, I'm up about $37,000 this month. Last month, I was up $75,000. That makes me up about $110,000. I'm up this month already. That's a pretty significant amount in my eyes. That's $110,000 that I'm up this year already. And it's not even 60 days into the month, which averages out to somewhere in the neighborhood of like, say, 55 days, maybe about $2,000 a day. That's pretty significant considering that's on its way to doing well more than $1 million on average so far. And I personally believe I'm going to finish this year day trading profit-wise, probably well over $1 million, like I usually do every single year since 2021. So I think that it's going to be a phenomenal year for me. But I do understand that some days, guys, just take it easy. Just chill. Don't force these trades. Right now, during this bear market, because we haven't officially confirmed the bull market yet, you need to really understand that it could be slower period. And the number one goal right now, in my opinion, not financial advice, just talking about my personal number one goal, it would be to dollar cost average and ensure that I'm buying at pivotal moments during a drop where I'm going to show you exactly where I'm interested in buying. And that's number one priority, to dollar cost average, to be in a good position for when the bull market does come into play later. And the second thing that's a big priority to me is to make sure I'm only focusing on the very good trades. I'm not going to try to go for these big Hail Mary passes, these gigantic high risk trades. I'm only going to go for the ones that are sure to me, that have a really high probability of winning, the ones that I feel very confident about. Because you have to ask yourself, if you don't have these set of criteria to enter a trade, what kind of trader are you then? Probably a pretty bad one, right? You have to have standards for everything that you do in your life, whether it's with the people that you date. Like, just as an analogy, like, you don't want to just date any woman that's interested in you. You want to find the right one that's going to be a good match for you, that's going to be compatible with you, where you're going to have a good time with them. You respect their values. It's equal as well. Like, for example, just to talk about myself, I used to date these horrible women. You know, I came into a lot of money with crypto when I was a little bit younger than I am now. And I would like go for these hot girls that just wanted to party. And at the end of the day, I just found out that they were leeches, like zero personality, just a nice pretty face that was a 10, but overall just very, very toxic for me. And those were the kind of people that I went for, right? So yeah, I went for these stupid, bad people that were toxic. And then I realized, you know what? These are the kind of trades I don't want to go for anymore. Even though they might be successful a little bit long term, I'd rather go for a really good trade. And after I increased my standards, just for the people that are in my life, like women, especially friends as well, I ended up meeting my wife, Furaz, and now we're married. Like, we've been together for about 2 years. We own a beautiful home in Turkey. And because of the standards of mine went up, my quality of life went up as well. And this relates to yourself with trades. I'm talking about mainly as an analogy. You have to make sure you have standards for the trades that you take. You can't just go for every single trade that you see, because at the end of the day, it's just going to be harmful towards you, because these standards that you have and the criterias that you have, it's only going to help you manage your risk long term. It's kind of like your friends as well. You can't be having friends that are holding you back, that are just into partying, that are not growing up, that are using you, that are leeches, that are self-absorbed, where you guys don't see eye to eye anymore. And I grew away from my friends. I grew apart from them, and I just don't have the same friends that I have now. I don't even talk to these people back at home in Canada, because they're all doing nothing with their life. Literally. And I want to be surrounded by motivation, or people who can lift me up and bring me to the next level, because my standards have also increased with my friends, just like my trades. I'm now more enriched in my life, and you really need to understand that as well. So let's take a look at Bitcoin and the Roundup, and we'll go from there. Like, by the way, trading is not all just strategy, guys. Like, you can't just go for the strategy and that's it. Okay, so you can't just be like, yep, which strategies are the most profitable, and I'll go from there. Trading is all about mentality and psychology and learning how to deal with your emotions and make changes to the strategies that you're using. So when I give you guys these talks, a lot of people will just scroll through it, but you guys are probably not the ones that are going to be successful in trading, to be honest. The ones, if you're actually watching this video to here and you've watched all of it and it makes sense to you, those are the people that are more likely to succeed. The people that actually put in their time to understand the psychology of growing into a good trader and the mentality that it takes. Anybody can develop a good strategy, but not a lot of people can be consistent long term, because it's all about using this up here. It's not about being intelligent or smart. Otherwise, doctors, lawyers, engineers like myself, every smart person in the world would be doing this if it was easy. But it's not, because it has nothing to do with intelligence and a super good strategy. It has a lot to do with fine-tuning, optimizing yourself as a person, finding your mistakes, fixing them, improving them, managing your risk. So the things that normal people think are really important for trading, well, they're not actually as important as you think. And don't forget, guys, there's still one slot left. That's it for the lifetime Discord membership with the ultimate bull market strategy guide. Just one. That's it. And I know for a fact it's not going to be on sale probably till about March or closer to where I'm on vacation in April or June. I don't want to saturate the price too much. I think a lot of people had tons of opportunities to get a really good price. It's right now 50% off from $17.49 to $8.75 for the course and the Discord membership. And there's also one slot left for if you are interested just in the course by itself. It's going from $900 to $450 for the course by itself with a 3-month Discord membership. So right now for the month, we all know that Bitcoin is at a standstill. I'm very much so on the fence for Bitcoin. And because Bitcoin is trying to hit this particular zone, it's very difficult for me to get into a trade and to focus on a long position. I see that right now, Bitcoin is at a 5-wave count. So this whole week has been fairly bearish. And by the way, we're doing a weekly summary roundup there. So this week has been very bearish. As you can see over here, we see that this is most likely a 5-wave count with the bearishly diverging RSI and so on. So this looks like it's got the characters that's going to end up eventually getting down to somewhere over here at least. And the reason why I say down over there is simply because of this particular region. Like, this is very realistic. But of course, there's also the golden ratio always. And this zone looks like it's incredibly powerful right around here. So if I were to do a volume profiler from right here to here, what we're seeing is that this region right now is probably the best place to buy. Like 19,122 is the absolute best place to buy. And this is how I made $10,000 this week on a Bitcoin long position with a $1 million position. And I'll show you guys how I did it as well. So this was one of the big longs that I made. It was for a $1.35 million position with 58 Bitcoins for scalp. The fees ended up being about 0.18 because I didn't market execute. I used a limit for all of it. So pretty good, I would say, going both ways. Actually 1.6. So I paid about $600 in fees for here, which is very reasonable. But right now, I think that Bitcoin's going to hit around 19,000. Realistically, it could be anywhere in this range. I don't know if this first range will hold. I'm really wanting Bitcoin to get to here. And that's where I'm going to dollar cost average about $500,000 and just add it to my long-term stack. So this looks like a really, really good place. So the way that I made that gigantic position yesterday was I just assumed by cutting through here that there was going to be some sort of bounce. Not only that, I assumed that this might have held as well. Something like that, where we ended up making a trend line in here. Something kind of like that, okay? Not only that, if I took my volume profile here, okay, so this ended up making a pretty good region to long it as well. So I took a volume profiler from around here to there, and this is what we got. It ended up pointing it to this particular direction right over here, around 22,900. So I took a long on it just for a super quick scalp near the bottom over here, got back up to around here, took my close, and that's it. So this here rallied about 2%, but it was enough for me to make a profit on it. And then other than that, I expect Bitcoin to definitely hit somewhere down in those regions that I mentioned. Like, this is the conservative approach over here on the daily, where we end up hitting anywhere like in this region pretty much, like maybe, in there. But realistically, we're probably going to hit somewhere in here, in this region near the golden ratio. So this week is going to be very interesting. I think we're going to have a break to the downside. And other than that, for the weekly roundup, we see a lot of coins have some massive gains. One of the biggest ones was Lena and Anchor and Wi-Fi. And that's about it. So Lena and Anchor were the biggest gainers. That's why they're still on my watch list. Anchor made a stupid gain this week. So it ended up rallying, like, let's say on what day was the week here? Like this here. So today's the 27th. So since the 23rd, it rallied about 70%. And this one was also easy to catch. I was trading with my Discord group. This one was easy to catch because it made a big rally like that. And whenever it makes a gigantic rally like that, there's always going to be some sort of support trend line that's going to uphold it for a while. So this one here, it eventually did just break down right there. And the best stop would be slightly above it, somewhere over here. And that's how I was able to catch a gigantic position with my group. And then we saw that it ended up falling down about 26%. And then usually in these cases, when they fall down like that, you just follow the chandelier exit. For example, it breaks down the 30-minute here. You would have just followed the best chandelier exit that would have made sense. So even on the 15-minute, it would have made sense. On a 20-minute, it has one break, like the 15. But the best one would have been the 30-minute chart. So it trends, it breaks to the downside here, and then it follows the chandelier exit on the 30-minute time frame. And then you would take your profit when there's a big spike that goes to the upside and turns green. So you could have entered your position right around there. And you would have just kept riding it until it goes upwards. So then you would have made a 30% profit. So that's the beauty of the chandelier exit indicator. And other than that, there was Lena. That was another really, really big trade you could have taken. And Phil as well was really beautiful in my opinion. So we see that Lena makes a gigantic 1, 2, perhaps a 3, and there's a 4, and maybe there's a 5. So we see that Lena is like Anchor, but Lena does 97%. So if you take a look at Anchor and Lena, they're actually almost identical, right? If I take off the chandelier exit, this goes down, or it goes up, and then down, and then up. So you see Lena, kind of the same thing. So right now, I'm waiting to see if Lena's going to pop, just like Anchor. Anchor ended up recovering about 15%. That's why Lena's on my watch list today too, because we're just looking for a possible spike up. And then there is Phil. Phil last week did really, really good. That's why it's still on my watch list. So I think that this is a coin that was possibly easy to catch soon. It did a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. If you just kind of look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it was kind of easy to catch this coin back in the days. So back when it was trending, especially because we noticed the support right there. Okay, so this support finally broke, right? So like right around this region was a strong support for Phil, and then it breaks down. So that would have been a good short entry. Other than that, I didn't really see much other opportunity other than Anchor and Lena. And the whole point of these videos is just to give you an idea of what Bitcoin's doing, where I'm doing the weekly summary roundup, to give you guys an idea of what Bitcoin could be doing as well, and my goal and plans for the week from a macro perspective. And then we see Anchor as well, that was really hot, and it was easy to trade just based off of trend lines. If you see a coin that's trending to the upside heavily, what you want to do is you just want to short it on the break of a trend line, and that's what I usually do. Lena was, of course, much, much harder to catch over here because you're seeing lots of, like this wick here, it's hard to trade when you're seeing 11% wicks on a 1 hour time frame. So Lena was much more volatile. I didn't trade that at all. I just thought I'd bring it up and point out that it was a very difficult coin to trade. So this upcoming week, I'm expecting Bitcoin to be rallying a little bit, maybe to 23,500. And then after that, I'm going to expect a gigantic correction to the downside. I don't think that Bitcoin's going to be holding anytime soon. This correction is long overdue already. And it seems like we're possibly at a resistance even right now. So if Bitcoin wants to break to the upside over here, it's going to have to put in some work because it's squeezing right now between many different regions. Here's a resistance, 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 apex of a gigantic squeeze that we've seen from the beginning of 2023. So other than that, that's how I see Bitcoin trending. I see it going down this week. I see maybe 1 or 2 coins that will go against the grain and will rally against Bitcoin. So if this ends up happening, we might catch 1 or 2 coins, just like Lena, just like Anchor. There are some coins that will go against Bitcoin's rally, and hopefully we can notice it fast enough to capitalize on some profit there. And other than that, guys, just want to thank you for watching today's video. I want to keep it short and sweet, 20 minutes per week, per Sunday, and go from there. Other than that, make sure you guys are checking out the link in the description below. There's 1 slot left for lifetime Discord membership, and also for the course itself, the Ultimate Bull Market Strategy Guide, and it's 50% off, guys. Now's the best time, in my opinion, to start studying. Not only that, I think I'm a fairly decent teacher and my content is phenomenal in terms of what I can teach you and how it's going to help you improve in the next bull market. So definitely give it a chance. You definitely want to check it out, especially if you're a serious trader that wants to get it to the next level and you want to commit to full-time trading. I'm definitely the guy that wants to help you do that. So I'll see you guys later tomorrow. I'll pass on more information and go from there. Have a great day. Bye now.